Hello and welcome to Andersen Sports Live. I am Gabriel Vegas.
And I'm Brad Hillegas. Yesterday was Selection Sunday and 68 teams still dancing.
Oh man, Brad, I was shocked by this team that didn't make it and the teams that did make it.
I know, but it's set in stone, and 4 teams have the coveted 1 seed going into the NCAA tournament. Let's take a look at each one of them to get a hot start to today's show.
Let's start with the #1 team in the nation, the Virginia Cavaliers. In the final Associated Press poll released earlier today, the Cavs received all 65 first-place votes. It was unanimous and hard to argue against that. Tony Bennett's squad went 31-2 overall and 17-1 in the ACC, good for first place in conference standings. Virginia was also ranked first in the RPI, mostly because of its stellar defense. The Cavaliers allowed an average of 53.4 points per game, the best mark in NCAA Division I basketball.
I mean, with defensive numbers like that, that is just choking offenses. You're really forcing teams' hands there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely deserving of that 1 seed. Moving on to the next spot, Villanova clinched their spot in the NCAA tournament as a 1 seed as well. The Wildcats took the Big East tournament crown, finishing the season with a 30-4 overall record, taking a 5-game win streak into the tournament. The Wildcats feature not 1 but 2 players on the Wooden Award watch list, the hardware given to the top player in college basketball in Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges. As a team, Villanova is shooting 40% from 3 and averages over 11 threes per game.
That's impressive.
That's incredible. That's too hot of a shooting. I don't know if even Virginia could stop that kind of offensive attack.
Oh yeah. And now let's take another team. Xavier is also #1 seed, but expectations aren't as high for the Musketeers as they are for Virginia and Villanova. Xavier lost to the Villanova Wildcats by 40 points combined in 2 regular season meetings. Defensive inconsistency has cost Xavier a few winnable games this season, as the one against Providence in the Big East tournament. Its offensive firepower, however, has been the opposite and should be key to keep the Musketeers' title hopes alive. Trevor Blewett, an All-American sophomore guard averaging 19 points a game and shooting 43% from the three-point range, leads this offense ranked in the top 10 in efficiency at 84 points a game.
I think you absolutely nailed it there. Really hot offensively, hard for defenses to handle, but you know, they've been kind of iffy on defense.
Yeah, they have. I don't know if that's going to work going into the NCAA tournament.
Well, we'll see against the toughest competition. And last but not least, the Kansas Jayhawks locked up a 1 seed in the Midwest region. The Jayhawks are led by senior Devonta Graham, who is averaging 17 points per game. Bill Self coached the Jayhawks to a 14th straight conference title. It's unprecedented. And are hoping to be the first team in 5 years to win a championship out of the Midwest region. Kansas has arguably the easiest path to the Elite 8, and they are projected to play Seton Hall, followed by Auburn. After that point, they'll have to make it past a fellow Blue Blood program, either the 3rd-seeded Spartans of Michigan State or my Duke Blue Devils in the 2 seed in the Midwest region.
Let's see how that goes. I still think Villanova and Virginia are the top ones, but, you know, those 4 are the...
Anything can happen. That's why we watch, right?
Yes, absolutely.
For a deeper dive into how the brackets shook out, who got snubbed, and who has yet to prove their worth, let's head upstairs to the round table where Chase Thompson is locked and loaded.
Thanks, Brad. That's Allie Snow. That's Silas Brown. Guys, we've been talking for weeks about who we think belongs in the NCAA tournament on this show. Selection Sunday is come and gone, so now we know who's in, but now we get time to pick some sleepers. Allie, who's your sleeper in this tournament?
I got to go with Michigan State. You look at Jaren Jackson and Miles Bridges, and you just have to think, wow, these two are outstanding. These 2 guys are going to lead Michigan State to their first national title since 2001. Anytime you have a 6'7" and 6'11" player who can shoot from anywhere on the court and actually make the basket, that's a dangerous weapon. Michigan State ranks 5th in the NCAA in 3-point field goal percentage. They're shooting over 40%. I really think that versatility is going to play a huge part in Michigan State's success.
Yeah, and they are good. They made it all the way to the Big Ten championship before, but that's already been over a week ago. So that's my concern. I think the Big Ten's going to do really well. Silas, who's your sleeper?
Well, you can never count on a team ran by Coach Tom Izzo, but my pick is simply Arizona. With all the scandal talk that's going on about him, with Sean Miller and the Wildcats, I think they're playing with the chip on their shoulder coming into the tournament. Coming off a solid win over USC to win the Pac-12 championship, they are riding into the tournament with a ton of momentum. But it comes down to one player for me, DeAndre Ayton. They're going to go as far as he takes them. No team maybe since LSU, Shaquille O'Neal rings a bell, who's had a big man with a combination with size, speed, talent, burst, skill, and IQ. He's averaging 20 boards per game, 11 rebounds, and shooting 60% from the field. We saw Villanova win it last year with a pair of 7-footers. Arizona has their own in DeAndre Ayton and Dustin Ristic, and it should be an exciting tournament.
Yeah, I agree. Arizona is really good, but I'm going to pick Gonzaga purely because they have the experience. Their coach has been there, done that. They were a Final Four team last year, so I'm picking them, but they do have a tougher road than your two teams. When they get out of the first round against UNC Greensboro, they face the winner of Ohio State and South Dakota State, who both teams are proven good. South Dakota State has Mike Dahm. But now we've talked about our sleepers. Who do you guys have as snubs? Allie first.
You know what? I'm really disappointed that Oklahoma made the tournament this year. They lost 11 of their last 15 games. Any program that does that should not make the NCAA tournament. I really think that Oklahoma State deserved to be in this tournament. They didn't beat the Sooners just once, but they beat them twice. They also have wins against top-ranked Kansas, West Virginia, and Florida. So I think it was ridiculous that they have to sit home during March. The committee looked at their 14 losses, unfortunately, and their non-conference schedule and just decided that they weren't a good fit for the tournament.
Yeah, I really agree with that one. Silas, who's your snub?
USC, in my opinion, was the biggest snub. They were one away from making the tournament and winning the Pac-12. I don't think the committee factored in the conference standings where USC finished second at 12-6 behind my team I picked to win it all, Arizona, and proved to be the second-best team in Las Vegas during the tournament. The committee instead honored a team that struggled in the Pac-12 and Arizona State based on a pretty non-conference portfolio. So look for USC to make a lot of noise in the NIT this year.
Yeah, I really agree with both of your teams. I'm going to pick St. Mary's, an AP Top 25 team, actually, that came out today, and St. Mary's is in the AP Top 25. But that's it for us this time. I'm going to send it right back downstairs to Brad, to the anchors.
Now that we know what to look forward to, let's take a quick look back at some games from this past weekend. Let's head first to St. Louis, where the SEC Championship was taking place. We'll start with that banked-in three. He called bank. We heard it. It was Kentucky Wildcats' hot shooting night against the Tennessee Volunteers, who kept pace and traded blows. 3 for 3 all night long. It was Admiral Schofield who was hot for the Tennessee Volunteers, who went 4 for 9 from 3, finishing with 22 points and 9 boards on the evening. On the other hand, it was 29 points for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who put up 7 boards as well, and Wenyen Gabriel, who led the charge with Kevin Knox there, the freshman, performing well in the SEC tournament. But it was here late in the second half that the Tennessee Volunteers really started to try to edge themselves back into the game. That one was from way too deep. I don't know if you're supposed to be able to shoot from out there, but he did it regardless. A nice little step-back jumper there, extending the Kentucky lead. Again, Kentucky took this game on some hot shooting. Calipari's 6th SEC championship in Big Blue Nation.
And now we're going to head to Washington, D.C., where the Atlantic 10 had its championship game with Davidson, taking over Rhode Island. Davidson's still looking for its first victory in the NCAA tournament, since Steph Curry led the way for the Wildcats when they reached the Elite Eight before losing to Kansas. But here in this game, it was Davidson's taking the way early with Aldridge Payton had 13 points in the game and that good layup over there. And now E.C. Matthews starting his party for Rhode Island. What a banger from downtown, and the fans are insane. And we're going to keep it up. Again, E.C. Matthews with a step-back jumper to take over for Rhode Island, 53-52 with 4:15 left in the game. We're going to see again Rhode Island in the offense, and what a step-back three, and it's in. It's in for Rhode Island, taking over. 4 points ahead, 1 minute 18 left. It's going to be the freshman, Kellen Grady, with that baseline floater. Oh, man. And it's all the end of the game here. A miraculous shot, but it's not going to go in. And Davidson's going to win this one, 58-57.
Continuing the trend of close championship games over the weekend, we're going to head down to Florida, where Houston is taking on the Cincinnati Bearcats. You like deep threes? Well, they're just going to keep coming all weekend long. Houston put on a clinic from outside, but they also scored 13 points in transition off of 6 turnovers, but offensive boards for Cincinnati is what kept them in an early 17 points off offensive boards. Another three-pointer here for Houston coming in to end the first half. They'll take a slight lead going into the break, but coming back from halftime is going to be too much action. Cincinnati tried to end it there, but how about two hands on the flush to close the gap before halftime? Coming the other way, takes a stumble. It's ugly, but it's in. Another three-pointer for Cincinnati as they tie the game up at 55. Coming down the stretch, a missed three from deep, a defensive rebound, and a foul with less than 5 to go, sending Cincinnati to the line to ice this one. One free throw is going to do it, and you're going to see just a nightmare unfold for the Cougars here. They inbound the ball, try to get a reverse action, and a turnover. It's going to haunt the Houston Cougars. They're still dancing, but Cincinnati wins the AAC. They'll take their 2 seed into the South region. They play Georgia State on Friday night.
Brad, 2 crazy games there. When we come back, we'll run you through the NIT tournament as well as a feature on the women's college basketball. Next on Andersen Sports Live.
The historic Haymarket, a beautiful place just west of downtown Lincoln, home of the exciting Pinnacle Bank Arena and a rich history. The Haymarket's history starts shortly after Lincoln's founding, when Lincoln was a busy hub for trains filled with traders and merchants. But now, Lincoln has a new rail yard that's filled with people looking for food, drinks, or fun. The Haymarket is loaded with restaurants and fun for everyone. What are you waiting for? Go visit lincolnhaymarket.org/events to find out what's happening today.
East Campus is for students who want an education outside of the classroom. We have art, agriculture, fashion, food science, law, dentistry, and a lot of trees, all of which are housed just on the corner of 33rd and Holdridge. Grab an ice cream cone at our dairy store or take a stroll through our gardens while you're here. Want to make it legit? Visit us at casnr.unl.edu to reserve a tour soon.
A lot of high school students would ask, why should I go to UNL? Well, why did Johnny Carson of the Tonight Show fame go to UNL? Why did multi-billionaire businessman Warren Buffett go to UNL? Why did people of such great fame and success go to UNL? Simple, because these are people that wanted to be successful. At the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, you too can begin your own success story. After all, if people like this can achieve national recognition and who came from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, then so can you.
Welcome back to Andersen Sports Live. The hype for college basketball has fans drooling at the thought of upsets, Cinderella stories, and the quest for a championship. Tomorrow night marks the start of the NIT tournament, a hotbed of teams scorned from Selection Sunday that still want to make their mark. The NIT tournament has evolved into a testing lab for proposed rule changes that the NCAA is considering implementing. This year, the tournament will feature a wider lane and a slightly extended three-point lane designed to imitate FIBA's international style of play, as well as a shortened shot clock for teams after an offensive rebound, resetting to only 20 seconds instead of the full 30-second shot clock. And maybe the most exciting for fans and players is the switch from 20-minute halves to 10-minute quarters. If the NCAA likes the effect these rules and format changes have on the game, they can implement these rules into standard college basketball rules as early as May of 2019, when the NCAA is set to review rules and policies. The other tournament on the horizon is the women's NCAA tournament. Earlier today, Gabriel got a chance to examine the women's tournament bracket with our expert analyst, Claire Magsman.
Thanks, Brad. I'm here with Claire to talk about some women's basketball tonight, women's college basketball. What are some bubble teams that we need to look out for tonight when the selection show happens?
Well, the selection committee were in consideration
Coming back on
for
a
the
two-shot.
final 4 spots in the tournament. So those teams are Buffalo, Minnesota, Creighton, Oklahoma, Purdue, Rutgers, USC, and West Virginia. So of those 8 teams, I think Minnesota has the biggest chance. They should absolutely be in the tournament. They almost knocked off Ohio State in the 4th round of the Big Ten tournament. They finished with a 28-3 record. That's an excellent record. They have 4 quality wins. They beat Iowa twice, Michigan, and Maryland's an excellent team. They're going to be a shoo-in for the tournament. They really don't have any bad losses, so I don't see why they aren't in the tournament.
All right, Claire, and since you watched the tournament and watch all of those games, what do you think? Do you think there are any teams missing from that list of contenders?
I'm so confused as why Nebraska's not on this list. Like, they finished 21-10. They had an excellent season. Unlike the men, they had 5 quality wins, and 3 of those quality wins are against teams on that list. They beat Minnesota, they beat Purdue, and they beat Rutgers. So, I mean, their RPI is 61, which isn't a great RPI, but that's higher than Purdue and West Virginia's RPI. Rhonda Bennett, the selection committee chairwoman, said that one of the main factors in getting into the tournament was how they played the last 10 games. Nebraska went 7-3 in their last games. They had a double bye in the Big Ten tournament. They went 1-1. They beat Michigan, lost to Maryland. So I think they should definitely be a team in the tournament.
Well, let's see if the women can bring some happiness to the Husker fans after the men did not give so much.
Exactly. Husker fans need some good news.
Yes, absolutely. And now that we looked at all the bubble teams, who are the projected #1 seeds and who's going all the way?
Okay, so the projected #1 seeds in the tournament are obviously UConn, Mississippi State, Louisville, and Notre Dame. They're all excellent teams. UConn obviously has for the past years have been a great team. Mississippi State, I think they are going to be the ones going all the way. They only lost one game in the regular season, which was the SEC championship versus South Carolina. They lost by 11. Which, I mean, heartbreaking that they went the whole season without losing. I mean, God, I just feel for that team. They have Tiara McGowan, who's a first-team All-American, one of 2 first-team All-Americans on that team. She's a center. She has 35 points, 19 rebounds, and 5 blocks in that win over Oregon. She is a huge factor, and she got into foul trouble early, which is obviously why they didn't win in the SEC championship. So they lost in the finals last year, but I think this year could be the year that they go all the way.
I've never talked to someone with that much knowledge about women's college basketball. Thanks, Claire.
You know, UConn is a powerhouse, and it's hard to imagine them losing to anyone in the field.
Yeah, I thought the same thing last year, but Mississippi State beat them last year in the Final Four.
In overtime, no less. Certainly a game for the ages. We'll see how it turns out for the Lady Huskers this year.
Well, the women's tourney doesn't get as much hype as the men's in media, but here at Andersen Sports Live, we have you covered. For an in-depth analysis of this year's NCAA tournament and a landscape discussion over women's college basketball, we'll send it up to our experts at the Roundtable.
Welcome back to the Roundtable. I'm Chase Thompson alongside Allie Snow and Silas Brown. Guys, it's 2018. The NCAA women's tournament does not get the hype it deserves. We all see that. Why do you think it doesn't get that hype?
You know, I'm just going to start out by saying that I think the problem here is that the NCAA, the revenue that they bring in, people really look at that, and I think that the NCAA neglects the women's basketball tournament financially. I mean, if you look on the men's side, they get compensated for their victories, and then you look at the women, and they get next to nothing. This just shows that the NCAA really doesn't care that much about its female athletes, and also sends the message that they're not as significant as the men's basketball team. And I think that the NCAA has to start treating the 2 programs equally.
Yeah, and I agree. And one thing I will point out about the NCAA tournament with the men's and the women's is a huge difference in the first 2 rounds. The men's, they go to cities throughout the country. The women's, they're all going to campus sites. There's 16 campus sites. They all will be going there. But Silas, I want to hear your opinion on this issue.
Well, I think the reason for why women's college basketball isn't talked about as much as men's college basketball is simply the media coverage it gets. You don't hear much TV conversation regarding women's basketball until like around the Final Four. And it doesn't help for a team like UConn, who was always the favorite to win the national title. They have been dominating the women's college basketball world for like almost 20 years now under Gino. And so I think a combination of not enough coverage and UConn always winning, it's hard for people to keep up as much as men's college basketball.
Yeah, and I do agree with you that the UConn dominance is good in some things, but in building a brand, having one team dominate usually does not work out. Mm-hmm. It tends to mess up the viewer, keeps other schools out of it.
Right.
I'll just even point out a school we're here in Lincoln, Nebraska. They don't get talked about even on the women's side, and you know, this is a school that's built on a women's volleyball team. You still don't hear that much talk about their women's. But let's transition over. But the bracket will be released tonight. But guys, let's take a little transition over to the NFL and talk about free agency. It started back on Sunday. What has surprised you guys so far about it?
My biggest surprise during this offseason has been the Browns. They're really trying to turn things around in Cleveland. They just traded for wide receiver Jarvis Landry, one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. And then now, imagine him landing up on the other side of Josh Gordon. You have 2 wide receivers you can go to now, and that's pretty scary. And they also acquired quarterback Tyrod Taylor, who was coming off an impressive season, who just led the Bills to their first ever playoff drought since, 1999. So I think the Browns at this point should no doubt draft Saquon Barkley with the number 1 overall pick, and then they should choose the best remaining quarterback with the remaining number 4 pick, and give him a year to blossom under Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, and I'll agree. Jim Dorsey has came in from Kansas City and made some moves. But Allie, what's your surprise?
I think that Richard Sherman signing with the 49ers this week surprised a lot of people. You know, anytime a player leaves their team and then signs with the team's rival, that's going to create a lot of negative and positive reactions from fans. And you know what? I think he'll be a decent fit for the 49ers. He signed a 3-year contract worth, $39 million? And, you know, the 49ers are in need of a cornerback right now, so I think that he's a perfect fit for them.
Yeah, that's a good point, Allie. But that's all the time we have for today at the Roundtable. For Allie Snow and Silas Brown, I'm Chase Thompson. Now let's send it back downstairs to see what Brad and Gabe are up to.
Hey, thanks, Chase. We're going to continue our rock, paper, scissors tournament while our sponsors pay for this break and the action.
It's your first stop on campus. It's your helping hand. It's a place to study, a place to eat, and a place to plan. The NCARD office, Career Services, Student Affairs Center, a multicultural center, food, and even Greek affairs.
Wait, did you mention food?
Yes, but we have a lot of other stuff too. Come check it out at the Union.
It's our union.
This is the nation's biggest multicultural center attached to a union. There's space to interact, study, and create. We're home to dozens of cultures, majors, and interests. We are home to all underrepresented students. And here, there's always room for you. Located on the east side of the UNL City Campus Union, find your home away from home. Find us at the Jackie Gunn Multicultural Center.
At the Outdoor Adventure Center, you'll find activities for everyone, from canoeing to kayaking to rock climbing. Everyone can get involved, but if you want to find them, you probably have to look up. The Outdoor Adventure Center isn't something you can really define. It's a culture built through experiences. Take a class with us. Go on a trip with us. We're open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Come move with us. Come adventure with us. You just have to experience it.
Welcome back to Andersen Sports Live. While college basketball is approaching its climax, the pros are still lugging it out as the NBA regular season is in its twilight. Let's take a look at some highlights from this weekend's NBA action. We're going to start first with the Warriors taking on the Timberwolves. And let's see how that game went. We're going to start off with a alley-oop to the man, Karl Anthony Towns. He had 31 points in that game, 13 out of 24 from the field goal range. And for the Warriors, it was KD, Kevin Durant, starting off with this three. Oh, man, it's always in for him. He had 39 points, but let's see if it's going to be enough to beat the Timberwolves, who were in a 3-game losing streak, their season-high losing streak on that note. And let's see again, the Warriors picking up late in the third. 4 minutes left, and a steal for Jeff Teague, and he's going to bank it in. What a dunk. Two-handed jam for Jeff Teague. And then let's go in. Jamal Crawford, the three-point man, and also the mid-shot man, the mid-court shot man. He always banks those in if he needs to. You're going to go KD with the dunk. No mercy for Karl Anthony Towns. Minnesota up 5, still with a minute left. Minnesota up 1. Karl Anthony Towns, baseline. Oh, and it's that fadeaway. Oh, man. Minnesota up 3, and they're going to win it against the Warriors. 109-103.
Let's take the action to L.A., where the Lakers are coaxing LeBron ahead of his free agency this summer. LeBron getting loose. This game was a matchup that was fun to watch. One, for LeBron being able to bully Lonzo Ball on the block, but more so because of the trades that happened back at the trade deadline. Isaiah Thomas, of course, the former Cav, going to L.A., and the Cavs picking up Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr. Julius Randle, though, trying to make his mark on the game. Here early, LeBron 2 defenders out, 1 big man to the rim. That's called a magic trick, kids. If you learn how to do that, you're going to be going straight to the pros. Again, Julius Randle barreling his way, spin move back to the left, 2 hands for safety. He had a career-high 36 points on the night. Isaiah Thomas, though, trying to get back against his former team, finds Brook Lopez, the 7-footer, from 32 feet. That's too deep for a big man, but it doesn't matter for Brook Lopez. Coming the other way, Isaiah Thomas splashes from mid-range. He went on to have 20-plus against his former team, Magic Johnson, loving the pickup. He steps back behind the three-point line, but finds a cutting Julius Randle, who again takes it to the hole. A career night for him. The Lakers carry the day 127-113 over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's head from the hardwood to the links as the Valspar Championship in Tampa wrapped up on Sunday. Englishman Paul Casey bagged himself a $6.5 million purse with his first place finish at 10 under. Casey had 21 putts on Sunday, the fewest in a final round by a PGA Tour winner in 18 years. However, the biggest headline of the Valspar Championship was the resurgence of Eldrick Taunt Woods, better known as Tiger. Tiger finished in second place at 9 under. Woods drained a 48-foot putt for birdie on 17 to give himself a chance to force a playoff with Paul Casey. It inched in. It had to go in, and he put it in wearing his famous red polo here. But then a chance at 38 foot 11 inches for birdie. The putt faded just right. Couldn't force the playoff, but he tapped in the putt for par, much to the delight of the crowd. Here's Tiger on his performance from this past weekend, where he finished in second place at 9 under.
I had a chance today. Unfortunately, I just didn't quite feel as sharp as I needed to with my irons. I was playing a little conservative because of it. As I told you guys yesterday, I've been here before a few times, and so it felt very comfortable. And my game was quite solid this entire week. As a whole, I felt very, very good about what I did this week.
We're going to take another short break, but when we come back, Major League Soccer is looking to open the MLS Hall of Fame. We'll touch on this and more on Andersen Sports Live.
It's your first stop on campus. It's your helping hand. It's a place to study, a place to eat, and a place to plan. The N-Card office, career services, student affairs center, a multicultural center, food, and even Greek affairs.
Wait, did you mention food?
Yes, but we have a lot of other stuff too. Come check it out at the Union.
It's our union.
This is the nation's biggest multicultural center attached to a union. There's space to interact, study, and create. We're home to dozens of cultures, majors, and interests. We are home to all underrepresented students. In here, there's always room for you. Located on the east side of the UNL City Campus Union. Find your home away from home. Find us at the Jackie Gunn Multicultural Center.
At the Outdoor Adventure Center, you'll find activities for everyone. From canoeing to kayaking to rock climbing. Everyone can get involved, but if you want to find them, you probably have to look up. The Outdoor Adventure Center isn't something you can really define. It's a culture built through experiences. Take a class with us. Go on a trip with us. We're open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Come move with us. Come adventure with us. You just have to experience it.
Oh man, we're back again. And that's been.
Well, you beat me.
Yeah.
I'll handle that loss with grace. I mean,
times.
I'm very competitive. We'll get back to it another time, though.
Oh yeah. We'll see you next week on Andersen Sports Live.